Now we'll need to look at user access control and local area network. So we'll be going through creating a sample user and giving that user access to local drives. Now most of this is done from the control panel, which you can start by pressing on that option or just click on the icon from the desktop. We'll maximize it because we're going to be in here for a little while. We move down to users, and the first thing I want to do is to set up a user group. By default we have administrators and everyone, but we need to create another user group. We'll start off by setting up a general staff user group, so that's the code, if you like, the ID that will be used, and how we have down here a more common description. I can assign users to this user group if I want to at this stage, but I may just come back to that at a later stage. I'll create that general staff, and then if I move up to users, the first thing I would always do is create a user called, well, generally Speakbox does this for you, a user called TechAdmin, and the TechAdmin is the user that's used by Speakbox to log in and maintain your system, or create or repair or check logs or apply updates. So generally the TechAdmin user is given administrator privileges as well as general staff privileges, because they need to be able to assist you. But if you feel uncomfortable with that, or in fact you wanted to just reduce that access right for a little period of time, you would be able to do that from your administration console. The next important thing for TechAdmin is the shared folders. Being a technical user, you wouldn't do this for all staff, but you would give them read-write access to the web directory as you would administrator, and the download folder. The public folder they can just be a public user to, because the only purpose of the TechAdmin user is to come in and provide you with technical assistance when and if necessary. I might use a lowercase t also, so that it's all lowercase. It's best practice, and press create. I won't create because I've got an invalid email address. Try again. Next we need to look at the shared folders. The customer that's using this machine will obviously have their own preferences for shared folders, but we'll set up one that's pretty obvious, and that is a folder name called Drive N. It's going to be a Drive N drive, and it's going to be created in the local area network volume. We'll allow it to pick the path by itself, and let's edit user privileges and say that read-write access to admin and TechAdmin. Underneath that folder, Drive N folder, you'll be able to have other folders which have different permissions, but allowing all users who will be using that folder to have access to the root is quite normal. And then you can close down access if there are certain subfolders that need a different level of protection. So now we have Drive N, and over here we can check permissions and change them if we need to. So the next thing to do would be to allow this PC that I'm recording on to have access to Drive N. But before we do that, the machine name is a bit obscure. It's the default machine name that's been added by the QNAP installation. So I'm going to change this to QNAP 10, actually 11. And I press apply. Now this will take a minute to apply this change. Now that that change has been made, if we were to use a Windows Explorer and type in /QNAP 11, give it a moment, we see some of the folders that have already been created, and in fact we have a drive in here. I'm already connected to another drive in, so I'll just disconnect that. And so now if I right mouse click on the drive in and press Map Network Drive, select Drive in, and press Finish, it then should give me, I might as well try this TechAdmin, the ability to connect that as a drive in. Now I have that drive connected. There's obviously nothing on it. I'll just copy a file across, paste. It's being copied across. Let's look at the speed. You can see that the layer 2 is working at 3 megabits per second. Well, it was for a moment there while it was copying that across. Down to nothing now. And just to cement the point home, if I go back to File Station here, and open up LAN, drive in, I can see that there's a video there that has just been copied across to this NAS. The last piece of information relevant to setting up simple file sharing is on quota. You are able to enable quota and set quotas for users on the disk drive. So if you think that certain users should only be allowed to store files or store information up to a certain value, which is quite handy in a household perhaps where the children might have their own folders, and under their shared folders they can store information, and we want to prevent them from accidentally uploading something which is extremely large and then everybody on the network stops. But in normal business circumstances we don't usually turn that on. So that concludes this section on setting up users and access. Watch the next video sections for the other remaining topics in relation to setting up this NAS for a business circumstance.